Well, welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to continue our journey towards self-discovery and personal development by examining the fifth pillar. And the fifth pillar of personal development is wisdom. And together with wisdom, we're going to examine the concept of knowledge, because these two things are not the same. In ancient times, the philosopher Pythagoras, he's actually the one who created the term philosophy and philosopher. It literally means lover of wisdom. Why? Because he thought that human beings, at least in the state that we are now, cannot attain wisdom. Wise is only God, all-knowing and wise. And what we as human beings can strive towards is this love towards wisdom, towards God, to know God, and thus come as close as possible to achieving wisdom. Now, I tend to slightly disagree. I do believe it is possible to achieve wisdom. If you remember, we talked in previous video about the Olympic Games and their symbolism, what it really meant. Now, the victor of the ancient Olympic Games took as its prize an olive wreath. That was it. Now, why an olive wreath? Well, if some of you may know this already, that the olive tree was the symbol of goddess Athena, and goddess Athena is the goddess of wisdom. So symbolically speaking, the victor of the Olympic Games had attained wisdom, and thus could be identified as one with the gods. He was an Olympian. Now, remember how we said that in the ancient games, there weren't any team events. It was all one individual events, one person events. And it stood that the deeper meaning of this was that the athlete competed against themselves. Symbolically, they competed against their own ego, their lower self, and they overcame this to reach victory. Victory over what? Not over his fellow athletes, but over themselves. They overcame themselves. So this is perhaps an indication of how we achieve wisdom. In today's world, knowledge, how do we know things? How do we come to know things? Through studying, reading books, watching documentaries, through the different media, and so on. However, is this satisfactory? I believe not. Why? Let's say that you are able to read a book a day. And let's say you live 100 years and you read a book a day from the beginning of your life to the end of your life. You will come to read, 36,500 books, which is amazing. However, there are millions of books out there. Millions on every subject. What's more, from the books we read, how much do we remember? So knowledge is somewhat subjective. Let's say that you read, and I'm not talking about, I mean, there are different levels of knowledge, yeah? So I'm not talking about, what about things like areas like politics, ethics, religion, philosophy, these sort of areas. How do we know that what we read, what we're studying, is actually the truth? Because that is knowledge, the truth. How do we know that in these areas? Because you see, everybody who comes up with an opinion, and I'm not talking, of course, about encyclopedic knowledge here, all right, what is the capital of Australia? I'm talking about subjects where you need your reason to reach knowledge, to reach a proper conclusion. You see, every person has its own character, attributes, biases, beliefs, passions. And these things, they operate as a filter. And they affect our critical thinking and the conclusions we arrive at. So when it comes to knowledge, here's the thing. We as human beings should never take what we read, what we see, whatever the case might be, what we hear, on face value and say, yep, okay, that's true. Just because at the moment it might suit our own belief system. We should always examine these things and come to a conclusion ourselves. Reading a book should never be the end. It should always be only the beginning, the first step towards the path of knowledge and further wisdom. As you can see, this can become very complicated very quickly. Who do you trust? Is there a way? How am I supposed to examine if this is true or not? There are two ways that life, the divine, has provided us with. One is reason, logos. The other one is experience. I prefer the way of the logos reason. Through the power of our reason, we come without biases, without passions. We analyze what is happening, especially to ourselves. Because here's the thing, the path towards knowledge and wisdom, it is a path of self-discovery and self-knowledge. It is the path of knowing thyself. And we can do that through the power of reasoning. That was the purpose of philosophy in ancient times. Now, if we do not apply this, life will send us certain experiences. And that's why these experiences are called the whip of destiny, because they are painful. They cause us pain. It is in human nature that we want to avoid pain. So this is the way of life, by sending us these painful experiences to awaken us. Hang on, what is going on? Okay, well, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Well, okay then, here's some more pain, and some more pain. How much can you take? And some more pain. Until we understand that we have to change something. And what we have to change more often than not lies within ourselves. Now, we can choose our experiences as well. Okay? But it is through reason that we need now to examine these experiences and come to the proper conclusions. This is why cleansing ourselves, our own ego, is paramount. Because if we don't, it is very hard to examine these events, these experiences, unbiased and come to the proper conclusions. More often than not, especially because many times these experiences, we have done nothing wrong, so to speak, and bad things, so to speak, keep happening to us. And we don't understand why. Okay? This is a reason why. This is why all these pillars need to be integrated together. They all help truth, love, which we will examine as the last one. Faith, courage, okay, and so on. We live in a world of polarities, of duality. And so it comes that because we live in this world, that we understand certain things through their opposite. Love and hate, health and illness, light and darkness, and so on, so on. So proper knowledge, I believe, especially when it comes to things, to areas like ethics, politics, religion, we can only judge by the truth that we all have within us, if we're going to be honest here. I do not believe in dogmas of whatever kind. I do not believe that one person has the truth and the rest should burn in the fires of hell because they hold an opposite view. This is not how it works. True knowledge comes through the path and journey of self-discovery, of self-knowledge. This is where meditation is very important, because meditation is an experience. It is through meditation, through the power of visualization, proper visualization, concentration, introspection, that we will have the experiences, we will experience these truths about ourselves, thus coming to know who we are, thus discovering the truth that we are, peeling back the onions, cleansing the personality from the ego, and becoming the masters of our emotions and our thoughts. And then you become the master of your life. And then you have achieved wisdom. Okay? Wisdom is this state of mastery and of knowing how to apply knowledge in a constructive, creative, and loving manner. For all. We are all human beings. Some of us Show me two human beings that hold exactly the same views about everything. Impossible. What does that mean? What does that mean? That we have to condemn each other to hell because we think we're right? That gives us the right to accuse and mistreat a fellow human being that holds an opposite view? Why do we think this? And how is this not a biased? We see it everywhere, all around us. The hatred, just because we think we are right. How can you support human rights by hating another human being just because they hold a different view? How does that make sense? All that hatred. No. What holds true for one person must true hold for all, regardless of an individual's views. If human life is sacred, then every human life is sacred. If every human being has rights, then every human being has the same rights. If we have, for example, a democracy, then we should all have the same rights under this democracy as human beings, regardless of our personal beliefs, and so on, so on. Okay? And that is how you come to knowledge and wisdom. Because knowledge has nothing to do with our personal biases and views, but it has to do with the universal laws of existence. Knowledge has to do by discovering the truth, these laws of creation that exist within us. Because remember, we do not exist separately from the source of life, from the divine. We are like the rays of the sun, always connected to the source, and hence to the truth. So it's just a matter of peeling back all these biases, all this ego, and reconnect with the source. And you will have truth. You will discover the truth that you are as a human being. As above, so below. So if you discover the truth that you are as a human being, you will discover the truth that exists everywhere, for all. Hence, knowledge. And you will be wise, because now you are the master of your ego. You are the master of your thoughts. You are the master of your life. You are the master of your emotions and your passions. Now you are wise. And with this, my friends, I'll let you go. I hope you all have a great day, great week. Continue on your path with love for all. And I'll see you all around. Have a good one.